So, February is Black History Month, and I want to share a great resource with you. It's by Microsoft. It's created for Minecraft Education Edition. This lesson is called Good Trouble, and it's based on John Lewis, former U.S. Congressman, who's kind of our tour guide in this lesson. And if you have access to Minecraft Education Edition, then maybe this is something that you'll want to try with your students. So let's start from the beginning. What we're going to do is launch this world, Good Trouble. And to do that, once we've signed into Minecraft Education, we need to click on this option that says View Library, choose Lessons, and all the way at the bottom, you'll see a section that says Equity and Inclusion. The world that we want is right over here to the right that says Lessons in Good Trouble. So you can see that this lesson, this page right here, gives you an idea of the background of the lesson. It shows that it's a tour of social justice movements throughout history based on civil rights leader John Lewis. Okay? If you want to see the actual lesson plan, you can click on this button and then get an idea of this lesson plan right over here for more information. The other thing that you can do if you want your students to be able to go right into this, you will need a Minecraft Education account. But if you click on Share Link, you can copy this link and hopefully that should open inside their Minecraft Education Edition program. One thing to note is that the suggested age range for this lesson is ages 8 to 18, so a pretty wide range for students of all ages. One thing you'll notice in a second is that Microsoft has added in a lot of resources where students, especially those older students, can go in and look at websites and videos and get a better idea of some of these movements that we're about to learn about. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started and set up this world. So in order to actually start the world, we need to go to this section that says Create World. And here we go. We start out in the lobby. And we started in the lobby. We're greeted by John Lewis. And he's going to share a message with us. One of the great things about Minecraft Education is anytime you come to a non-playable character, in this case like Congressman John Lewis, it will actually read the text for you if you click this button through the immersive reader. So let's take a look to see what Mr. Lewis will tell us.
Hi. I'm Congressman John Lewis. I devoted my life to achieving equal rights for all. I believed that sometimes getting into good trouble helps build a more equitable world. Click the button to begin, or check out the resources on the wall to see where you can learn more about the people and movements discussed here.
So we're going to get started, and we're going to start right over here with the Black Lives Matter movement. And you'll notice if I make my way down, you have Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., all the way down here, Gandhi, a few other people here as well. So what will happen in a second is I'm going to start here, and I'm going to join this world. So here's what our speaker has to tell us.
Did you see what's happening on the street below? People are cheering and chanting together to make change. Click the button to join the people below and to learn about the Black Lives Matter movement.
So let's get started and let's learn about the Black Lives Matter movement. So by clicking this button, I'm right here in this one world. You can see it's kind of like a city landscape. I'm going to start by talking to John Lewis.
Today I'd like to teach you about Good Trouble and introduce you to some leaders through history who have built a better world by being catalysts for good trouble. Head towards the green beacon up ahead to continue.
Okay, so I'm going to head towards the green beacon where there's another John Lewis character. You'll notice that I'm right here in the city environment. Over to the side, you can see different people protesting the Black Lives Matter movement. And you can see right over here, we've got our signs. And I'm greeted by John, so I'm going to take a listen.
I marched with other civil rights leaders, such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to end racial discrimination in the United States. Over the years, I have watched the civil rights movement continue to grow and evolve.
Okay, so now you'll notice right over here, I can just sort of explore this world, look around, read some of these signs, and get a better idea of what this major civil rights protest was all about. If I go over here, I'm greeted by John Lewis again.
Throughout my life, I've gotten into all kinds of good trouble. I've been arrested dozens of times for doing what I believed was right, from sit-ins to marches to the freedom rides to advocating for human rights.
So again, I'm going to keep going through our city landscape, look for those tall green beacons where I'm going to be seeing an NPC of John Lewis to share a little bit more information with me.
There are people all around the world that have caused good trouble while fighting for human and civil rights. These are people just like you and me who decided to take a stand when they saw that the world was not right, fair, or that justice was not being served. Join me as we travel through time to learn about these leaders.
And again, we'll go all the way to that green beacon where I'm greeted by John Lewis and an activist.
Started by Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, the Black Lives Matter movement has made a global impact in their mission for freedom, liberation, and justice for Black people. Do you know why these women started the organization?
And then next to John Lewis is an activist who is going to answer that question for me.
The Black Lives Matter movement came about in 2013 to seek justice following the acquittal of the person who killed teenager Trayvon Martin. Since then, millions of people around the world have joined to recognize the need for the civil rights of Black people.
And one of the nice things that you'll notice throughout this world, certain speakers or these certain NPCs at the bottom have links to more information. So maybe not so much for younger students, but for older students, high school students, if they want to get a better idea of what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about, it will link to the Black Lives Matter website. So there is the Black Lives Matter website. It has videos, more information for students to get a better idea of what the whole movement is about. So back to my world, I'm going to keep going through our crowd, through our protesters. Another beacon where we'll see John Lewis.
As a boy, I loved to read, but I wasn't allowed to get a library card because of my skin color. This was so unfair. As a teenager, I was inspired to join the civil rights movement by leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Meeting, and working with him inspired my ideas about nonviolent protest. Later, I would write books about civil and human rights.
So again, there's a link to some of the work of Mr. Lewis, where if students were interested, they could check out some of these books, some of the reviews to his books as well on Goodreads.com. And you'll notice that this glowstone right here will take me to the end, another green beacon, where I'm greeted by John Lewis again.
Let's continue our journey and head off to Pakistan, where I'll introduce you to a leader who became a catalyst for good trouble as a teenager. You can continue walking to the next location, or you can use the button below to fast travel straight there. You can also return to the lobby.
Okay, so at this point, I can either proceed and go to the next section, which is Pakistan, or I can go back to the lobby. So I hope you enjoyed this really quick tour of Good Trouble, which is a brand new world by Minecraft. A great way to learn a little bit about some very powerful civil rights movements. One that I showed you was only the Black Lives Matter movements. There's lots of other really great worlds and great historical figures that students will be able to learn about through taking part in this world, and maybe I'll get a chance to show some of those as well. So again, to check this out, you'll need Minecraft Education Edition, and then just follow the instructions to open the world. Good trouble.